The story opens with a man named Hoffman. He walks into a restaurant, his face tight with tension. Soon after, the CEO of Optima Pharmaceuticals arrives to meet him, a man who didn't even recognize Hoffman. The CEO had come to collect a report file from him. Hoffman tells him that, as a safety measure, a copy of that file will remain with his representative. If anything happens to Hoffman, the representative will hand that copy to law enforcement. They take a photo together. The CEO leaves with the file. Hoffman exits soon after. Another man, Ash, follows Hoffman out. From a taxi behind Hoffman, Ash sends instructions to him. Ash makes sure Hoffman boards the subway and gets away safely. Ash is a fixer, and here he is Hoffman's representative. Shortly after, Hoffman leaves a voicemail for Ash. The payment has been made as agreed. As long as Hoffman sticks to his side of the deal, they are done with each other. The next morning, Ash goes to a secret location. He places Optima Pharmaceuticals' file among other documents and locks it in a safe. Scene shift. We meet Sarah. She is being followed by a man named Dawson. Sarah tells an attorney that she used to work on a team developing genetically modified wheat. During the research, she came across a food safety report that revealed the side effects of their wheat. When she raised these issues with senior management, they told her she had misinterpreted data and there was nothing to worry about. Almost immediately, Sarah was transferred to another department in Manhattan. 2 months later, she was fired. Now, her former company is harassing her. People from the company are following her because Sarah kept a copy of the food safety assessment as evidence. But now she just wants to return it quietly. She wants to do it in a way that keeps her safe. She does not want her company to harm her. The attorney gives Sarah a number and says these people can help. The attorney does not know who is behind the number. They will listen to her situation and call back if they decide to help. When Sarah gets home, her car is burned. The next day she moves into a hotel and calls that number. Back to Ash. He is in group therapy and after reaching home he checks his voicemail. It is Sarah explaining her situation. After listening, Ash researches Sarah, her work history, her social media, everything. He calls her back through a relay telecommunication service built for deaf people. Ash will type what he wants to say. The relay service will speak it to Sarah and whatever Sarah says will be typed back to Ash. The entire call is confidential. Under questioning, Sarah explains the wheat side effects. In some people, it caused extreme allergic reactions. In others, there were links to cancer. Her company plans a massive worldwide rollout. Thousands could end up eating this wheat. Sarah had wanted to make all of this public. She turned down a cash offer from the company to stay quiet, but now she is intimidated and afraid. Outside her hotel, there is a van parked. It is clearly watching her. Ash warns Sarah that her calls are probably being tapped. Inside that van, Dawson's team is indeed intercepting her calls. They trace the relay calls back to the relay service office and show up, but the relay service has strict rules. No matter what, all calls remain confidential. The service holds no records of the calls. The next day, following Ash's instructions, Sarah goes to a public place and activates a new phone number. She tells Ash that her company is about to be acquired. If this information goes public, the acquisition will collapse, which the company absolutely cannot allow. Ash tells her he will help return the documents, but first he needs $50,000 upfront. He promises the money will be returned from funds they recovered during the negotiation process. Ak explains that in the days ahead, she will have to follow a series of unusual instructions. From now on, before every conversation, they will use a passcode. He marks to phones with differently colored tape, prepares some printed documents, and delivers them to Sarah. One page contains detailed instructions on how Sarah will send the $50,000 in used notes along with the company file to Ash. Ash tells Sarah to take the 10:05 a.m. flight from New York to Pittsburgh the next morning, and then the 11:50 a.m. flight onward to Atlanta. He warns her not to carry her own phone. She is to travel with the file, all the cash, and the phone with red tape. Remember, he says, do not open that phone until you are at the Pittsburgh gate. Dawson's team tails Sarah to the airport. Ash, disguised, is on the same flight. After they land in Pittsburgh, Ash buys a bag. He leaves it with lost and found with the name tag of Sarah Grant. Then he calls Sarah through the relay service and asks where she is. At that moment, the lost and found makes an announcement for Sarah. Dawson moves to check it out. Ash tells Sarah to ignore everything else and go to the post office to mail the packages. Right then, there is another announcement for Sarah. Dawson runs off in the other direction. From a distance, Ash photographs them. Dawson realizes the announcements were a distraction. Rossetti, one of Dawson's people, watches Sarah post the packages. Sarah gives the tracking number to Ash and tosses the receipt into a trash bin. Rossetti picks the receipt up. Ash sees everything. Dawson's team figures out that Ash has forced Sarah to make two posts so the file will be inside one of the packages. Ash confirms with Sarah that she has mailed everything and that she has no further copies. Sarah says yes. Ash explains their plan. Once the package arrives to him, they will make a deal. After that, Sarah will meet the CEO wants to hand the file back herself. Sarah asks if Ash will be there. He answers that she will never meet them. They are only intermediaries. They will return the original files and keep a copy as insurance. A member of Dawson's crew, Ryan, reaches an Oklahoma post office and installs a camera. Meanwhile, Rossetti goes to a Michigan post office to ask about a package, saying one was expected for a friend, but she forgot the locker key. The clerk says they cannot help without the key. Rossetti pleads and asks them to check if the package has arrived. The clerk finds no package even though by the schedule it should have. That is when Rossetti realizes that Ash may have used mail forwarding to change the delivery address, which means the old tracking number will no longer reveal the new destination. Ash retrieves the package from a third post office. Inside that package are all the used bills and the complete file. Ash then texts the CEO of Sarah's former company. He says he has a 311-page food assessment file. If they agree to leave his client alone, he will return the file. Ash watched Sarah from a distance, standing across the street in another building. He planted a phone on Dawson's van. A short while later, the planted phone rang. It was another staged relay call arranged by Ash. On the line, Dawson was speaking on behalf of Cybo Cementis CEO. Ash used the opportunity to tell Dawson to stop tailing Sarah or he would send the file to every major media outlet. If Dawson accepted Ash's terms, Ash said they would return the original file and keep a single secure copy as insurance. But Ash also demanded a fee for breaking the deal, claiming to act between both parties. He asked for $500,000 in cash and gave Dawson until tomorrow night to give an answer. So Dawson stepped out of the van and signaled Ash to come closer. Then, following Ash's instructions, they drove their van away. Sarah called Ash to say thank you. He outlined the next steps. After the handover, she would have to leave the area for a few days strictly as a safety measure. It would not be permanent, he promised. Sarah asked if she could spend a little time outside the hotel first. Ash agreed. He also set a daily check-in. Every evening at 6 o'clock, she would leave a voicemail. If something was wrong, she would say weather. If everything was fine, she would say, all right. The next day, Ash met Wash, a woman from his group therapy circle, who was also a police officer. Both had struggled with alcohol, but both were sober now. Wash had encouraged Ash in group therapy to open up. Meanwhile, Dawson agreed to Ash's terms. Ash instructed him to send unmarked cash through a post office, but Dawson hid a tracker inside the cash package, one with batteries that would easily last 4 to 5 days. With the money en route, Sarah was able to move around more freely, though Ash kept watch from afar. On a lighter note, Ash suggested a music album during one of their calls. Sarah bought it and played a track. The small intimacy of the exchange pulled Ash toward her. He began to check her social media. One day, Sarah missed their usual message. Ash called back. On that call, he pretended to use the relay service, but this time he faked a direct conversation. Their exchanges stopped being purely business. Still, Ash cautioned they keep communication to a minimum. Unknown to Sarah, Dawson was still tracking the calls. Ash, however, had already switched off the phone. Ash changed his appearance and visited a post office with a story. He told them he had a mailbox in California, but since he was leaving for work in Europe, he wanted all his packages forwarded to his cousin Sarah Grant's mailbox instead. He asked them to send everything through general delivery. Shortly after, Dawson left a voicemail. The money had been delivered, but there was a problem. He insisted Ash had a 311-page assessment, Yet the original file totaled 327 pages. Where were the missing 16 pages? He demanded every single page. Ash contacted Sarah. Appendix C was missing, he said. Sarah protested that Appendix C did not contain anything special and that the pages were still in her possession. Ash warned her that he had told her to follow every instruction carefully and if she failed, he might not be able to protect her. The threat frightened Sarah. She worried Ash would walk away. Instead, Ash rushed to Times Square. He instructed Sarah to hide the remaining pages at the very bottom of the Washington Post stack at a specific newsstand. Sarah did as instructed and left. But when Ash went to check the pile, he found no document. Dawson and his team were there, too. Ash called Sarah and learned she had accidentally placed the pages in a different pile. The whole operation had started to collapse. Most people would have walked away at that point. Ash did not. He recruited a local beggar to create a scene near the newsstand. The beggar threw the newspapers into the air in a small performance and in the distraction retrieved the hidden pages from the wrong pile. Dawson chased after the beggar, but the woman handed the document to Ash before anyone could intercept it. Ash called Dawson and reminded him of their agreement. He asked if Dawson wanted him to make the file public. Dawson apologized. Ash set the terms. The handover would be in person at a public location chosen by Ash and his people, and both Sarah and the CEO would attend. So, all Dawson managed to get from Times Square was a piece of footage in which Ash's face wasn't even clearly visible. Ash told Sarah the exchange would take place on Thursday. Until then, she must call every day and say only one word, either whether we're all right. No other words, no deviations. If she failed to follow instructions, Ash said they would walk away. Meanwhile, the tracker batteries hidden in the cash package Dawson sent had finally died. Back at home, Hoffman was still collapsing under the guilt of all the people who had died because of his company. He could no longer bear it. He told Ash, "There is blood on my hands." Hoffman said that he would not call Ash anymore. After that, in group therapy, Ash finally opened up. He gave his name as John and confessed that he was Muslim. He said Muslims do not drink alcohol. But after September 11th, it became hard for him to live in New York. So he started drinking to fit in. He explained that when people beat him, alcohol made him numb. Later, Ash found a job on Wall Street, but he saw things there that were wrong. He told his seniors and nothing happened. During all of this, Ash worsened his drinking. After some time, somebody paid him and forced him to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Ash accepted that deal in a shocked moment, but he carried guilt and shame from that time. Last night, Hoffman's voicemail sounded lost and broken in the same way. Ash knew Hoffman was not going to make it. Wash offered Ash comfort. After that, Ash prepared for the exchange. He called Sarah and told her that the original copy of the file had arrived at the post office. A table had been booked under the name Adam at a restaurant where Sarah and her CEO would meet. Ash told Dawson everything about how the night would unfold, but Sarah did not show up at the restaurant that night, and she did not answer Ash's calls. Ash sensed that something was wrong. Then Sarah left him a voicemail saying that Dawson had identified him using facial recognition and that he knew his name was James Caton. Sarah said it was all her fault and that she would do the handover herself. Of course, the whole thing was Dawson's trap. Ash ran to help Sarah and raced to the new location Dawson had set. A concert crowded with people. Ash searched the crowd and called Sarah, but she did not pick up. Ash triggered the fire alarm and the crowd streamed out. Moving through people, he attacked Ryan. He told Sarah the passcode and said, "This is me. This is a trap." Ash got Sarah out of the venue and explained she had to get away from there. Sarah was confused. They climbed into a taxi. Ash kept giving instructions and Sarah begged him to stop asking why he had done this for her. Ash said it was his job. Sarah said, "Not this far, James." Ash says, "That's not my name." When Sarah asks him who he really is, he answers quietly, "My name is Ashro." They reached the train station. Sarah had to continue alone from there. Before they parted, Ash touched Sarah's hair. Sarah moved toward the train and Ash watched until she boarded. Sometime later, a call came through on Sarah's phone. She was in Dawson's control. Ash threatened to make the document public, but Dawson offered a counter-proposal. He said they would go with Ash to the place where Ash had kept his copy of the document, and when Ash returned that copy, Dawson would leave Sarah and the other person alone. Ash agonized over the offer because leading Dawson to his secret location would also endanger his other clients and their data. In his distress, Ash almost started drinking again. He did not, but he did ask Wash for help. Eventually, he told Dawson, "Fine, I will do this." The next morning, Ash arrived outside Sarah's apartment. In the van nearby, Dawson's team was waiting. They stunned Ash, tied his hands, and threw him inside. Sarah was there too, already restrained. Dawson pointed a gun at Sarah and demanded that Ash reveal the location. Ash gave it up, but when the moment was right, he fought back. He hurled Lee out of the van and managed to take Dawson down as well. Then suddenly Sarah stunned Ash from behind. And in that moment, the truth was revealed. Sarah herself was the leader of the team. Everything had been a trap. They wanted to reclaim the copy of Optimo Pharmaceuticals' file. All of this was connected to Hoffman. They reached the location. The room could only be opened with a password. Dawson's people untied Ash's hands, but Ash deliberately entered the wrong password, releasing a cloud of smoke. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ash ran. He attacked Ryan and seized his gun. Dawson opened fire, and in that moment, a passing car struck Ash hard. Still, he didn't stop running. Staggering forward, he crossed the railway tracks and hid between containers. But Rossetti heard him climbing and closed in. Ash ran again, and this time he came face to face with Sarah. Both had their guns drawn, aiming at each other. Ash dropped his weapon and said, "Do it." At that moment, the police arrived. It was Washington. The entire group was arrested. Ash explained that he had Optimo Pharmaceutical documents exposing the side effects of their products and that these people were trying to take them from him. Wash asked why he had them. Ash replied, "This is my job. I help people who've seen things they were never meant to see." Later, Ash went to a post office and collected the package of money. He kept half for himself and sent the other half to the relay service workers. Then, he boarded a train and disappeared into the distance. Soon after, the truth about Optimo Pharmaceuticals broke out in the media. And with that, friends, our story comes to an end. Tell us in the comments how you liked this explanation. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the